What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. This has been quite the year. You know, I know we've talked about it where most of our movies have either been threes or, you know, there's been some good amount of disappointments. But I will say, at least TV for the most part has definitely been more consistent. And we're talking about one of the strongest shows this year, especially within the comic book realm, crime, like mafia genre, what have you. And that is the latest from the world of the DC world that Matt Reeves has created, which is the Penguin. But the showrunner is a woman named Lauren LeFranc, so she gets all our praise for this one. So far, it's just a mini series. I don't know if they will do more seasons. It kind of depends, I guess. But this is gonna be some.
It seems like a lot of shows are doing that, huh? Right, where it's like they say it's like a one season thing, and then later on it gets greenlit for another. Shogun is the one that comes to mind, where they're like limited, but hey, you never know.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the way I would look at it is like I could make that argument the industry is somewhat volatile when it comes to properties like this, where it's almost like, given this is one that's like Shogun and this are both kind of derivative of something else. This one has comic book stuff. Shogun was originally a show many years ago. So it's one of those things that I think it is a smarter move just to make them as miniseries. That way it's just a close and shut story for the most part. And if they can expand upon it, great. So I'm glad that these kind of, at least with the Penguin, it feels very familiar. But as I was saying before, Burn so rudely interrupted me. I'm just kidding, Burn. It's okay. This is going to have some spoilers in it, so if you haven't watched all of it, definitely come on back when we get to it. We'll give our rantings in just a minute, so that way you can come back for spoilers if you want. But also, if you do happen to like the video, give us that thumbs up. We do appreciate that, along with ringing the bell to stay up to date with notifications and subscribing just to be part of the ranting community. We appreciate you all. You know, and our community's definitely grown, so feel free to put it all in the comments. We love you guys. So just a brief synopsis of the series. It takes place basically right after the events of The Batman from 2021, which, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that movie, which if you haven't, that's just sad on your part. You know, Riddler basically flooded Gotham by destroying a seawall. Batman saved the day, kind of had a conflict of what he wants to be for the city. And Gotham is literally kind of like back to square one in a matter of like society and like crime, where people are it's all up for grabs, and Penguin is definitely one of those crime lords who's trying to get to the top. So man, real quick, I'm just saying knockout performances by Colin Farrell, Kristen Milioti, and mostly them two, but I also want to give props to Renzi Felice, who played Victor Aguilar, Deirdre O'Connell, who played Frances Cobb, and even Carmen Ejogo. She's always been a favorite of mine for many years now. And I'm going to give this series a 5 out of 5 because this was one of those shows that, yes, it's based on DC. It is very familiar with if you're a Batman fan, but there are moments I kept forgetting it's a DC show. And, you know, that's just the beauty of it. It really is almost like some people will be comparing to The Sopranos, which, to be honest, I've never seen. I apologize, but I was a kid when they came out, so I never really watched it. But yeah, I can't praise this show enough. I think this is, if you're a Batman fan, you want a good crime show to sink your teeth into, The Penguin is it for you. Maybe even is definitely on the top 5 of the shows of the year. So definitely check it out when you get a chance. Burn, what did you think of this show?
How many rantings out of 5?
Oh, duh. I mean, I'm sorry. Didn't I say 5? Are we do?
Did you say 5?
Yeah, I said 5. I said 5 out of 5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're gaslighting me now, Bernie. I can't think straight. No, just kidding. But anyways, what would you give this show, Bernie?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it is a tough one. It's honestly, I do agree with everything you said. I would even go further as to say this is probably one of the better comic book shows we've gotten in general. I would put it definitely up there with things like Watchmen, Peacemaker, and like the Daredevil series. I mean, that's a personal favorite, but I think a lot of people agree that that's pretty dang solid. But what this show does, I think that a lot of other really good shows that are working within a genre, like not genre films, but genre TV series. What this one does well, I think, is that it's more so a crime drama than it is like a comic book show. It very much leans more heavily onto something more alongside The Sopranos or Breaking Bad or things like that than something like you would see on the CW, right? It's very much trying to
Oh,
be
don't even compare. Don't get me started on the CW. Keep going, Bernie. I'm sorry.
it's
Just
very much trying to be prestige TV, and I think it nailed it from beginning to end. I thought this was incredibly well crafted. And that's it's a pretty notable feat because, taking that world that Matt Reeves created on the big screen and replicating it here on the small screen, it's not an easy task. And, we didn't know if it was going to translate well and how they were going to be able to handle it. It's when I heard, they were going to make a Penguin spinoff. It was around the time, WB Discovery was announcing all kinds of spinoffs to their movies. Again, we have Dune Prophecy coming out. We'll see how that one turns out. But it seemed like it was just one of those things where it could have been like, is this like an idea that we really like, or is this just something for content for the streaming service? And I don't know what it ended up being, the initial thing was, but what it ended up being was something really, really fantastic. Yeah, the performance by Colin Farrell, he just does not miss a beat. Continues directly from where he was doing in the Batman, which gained almost universal praise. I believe everybody that saw that movie, I knew, loved his performance in there, and he again completely disappears in the role here as well. The makeup and prosthetics, again, they were fantastic in the movie. They're so good here. It's one of those things where even throughout the 80 episodes, I had to keep reminding myself, this is Colin Farrell.
and that's and just I just want to interject. I was gonna say like that's definitely one of the best things about the Matt Reeves universe is he kind of made the Penguin from like almost like a comic relief character to like a legitimate crime lord. Not that he's not depicted like that, but just like you said, Colin Farrell just aces this role beautifully.
And he does something that a lot of the interesting characters in TV, or one of the things that you can do with TV is take such a despicable character and really like dissect them. Again, I'm thinking of the Walter Whites, the Tony Sopranos, and all those characters that you couldn't really get away with pulling off in a movie where it's like you only have an hour to 2 hours to flesh that out. And what they did here is, and what we learned about him when we're peeling the layers, it was just such interesting stuff through and through. But man, the 1-2 punch of him and Kristen Milioti, amazing. What she did with Sophia Falcone was just incredible. And I think it was the fourth episode, which was like her centric episode, completely blew me away. And this was a character I wasn't really familiar with the comics. They've probably been like in minor things here and there, but she really took it and made it her own and was just, again, the two-hander in this that was this series was just so engaging to watch week to week. The cinematography, the music, everything. Again, this just feels like a really well crafted world, and everyone involved here took what was in the Batman and replicated for 8 episodes. And I think it would be hard for me to give it anything less than a 5 out of 5. I think there were a few pacing issues here and there, but overall, just the entire time I was just glued to the TV screen and wanting to see what the hell Oswald Cobb did next.
Yeah, it was so weird hearing Cobb. I kind of wanted them to like say the full name Cobblepot, but again, this is a different Batman. This is an Elseworld story, so it's definitely they've definitely taken some liberties. But again, all for the best. So you heard it here, folks. It's 5 out of 5 from both of us. So now we'll dive into some of the spoilers, which Bern and I both personally enjoyed or thought made the show great. So if you have watched it, stick around. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Otherwise, if you haven't, come on back after you've caught up and then dive in with us. But I mean, aside from the performances, like mostly Colin Farrell, just like you said, Bern, with the makeup and everything, the walk, everything he does, man. Even some of the minor movements, like when he's turning his head to look at something else or anything, it definitely was like that. That's Penguin right there, like very bird-like to a certain extent. But yeah, just Kristen Milioti as a Sophia Falcone, man. Like I remember after watching it, like kind of binging it, for second episode, I'm like, this is easily one of the best mob characters I've ever seen. Like just such great presence, and she's got that face of like you don't know what she's gonna do. Is she gonna be super cool and like make a good deal, or is she gonna ice you on the spot? And that was the scary part about her. So she was almost like she was like they're both villains, but I would say she was definitely more of a villain than he was half the time, and that was just amazing.
Which is just an incredible like piece of writing, and what an incredible character, because she's by far probably one of the most sympathetic characters in this series. Everything that happened to her in her past, and how she took the fall for her father, and got put into Arkham, and was driven insane there, and is now like out and just sort of like getting her revenge on the world. Is just, yeah, it was so, her performance was so great in that any room she walked in, she was immediately the most dangerous person there, because you just didn't know what she was going to do at any moment. And again, she played that so well. Just that line of, like where she's incredibly dangerous, but at the same time, there's a level of vulnerability to her in every scene where you can tell like she's just teetering on the edge of cracking under the weight of everything that's going on around her, but also at the same time she kind of has that sort of ability to control every room that she's in eventually. Obviously there, and where she starts off in, where everyone's sort of like taking turns putting her down within that family. It was just an interesting dynamic all around with her character and her story, and navigating what it would be like growing up in a messed up mob family.
If you're gonna talk about gaslighting someone, she was definitely what that was the definition of what happened to her. Just trying to confront her dad, which I don't know who I still like John Turturro better as Carmine, just because he had great presence in the Matt Reeves movie. I'm definitely gonna watch it again because of this show. Not that I haven't before. I'm just saying I want to watch it again. But just kind of trying to confront the dad, confront Carmine about his wife, her mom, and then immediately just flipped it on her and led her to Arkham. Like, it's kind of that thing of like, you tell someone they're crazy so long, then they become crazy. And technically, she wasn't. She was just like, she was basically a regular character fresh out of like prison or something. I'm not going back. I'll do everything I can to not go back. So she portrayed that very well. Just like you said, that vulnerability of like, I'm in the free world. I don't want to leave again. I don't want that to happen to me again. And she can't trust anybody. So that was the best part about it. And then what was that guy's? I apologize. Who played Victor? It was
Renzi Feliz.
Yeah, he did a great job too.
Yeah.
Man, just watching the final episode, I was really hoping he was gonna keep going with Cobb, just because I'm like, it's an Elseworld story. They could totally flip it and make him a bigger character, but then the way it was all going, the way the relationship started, it's like, you know who you're working for. This is like the biggest backstabber in like comic book like history, right? In this show, at least they depict it, where he is literally just out for himself, despite what he says, despite what he does. So there's that ending with him, like how he came from like how Victor started out as just like a lowly kid trying to survive in Gotham after the floods, and then being the Penguin's right hand guy, and then just being 6 feet under. I was like, God damn, like, why do we have to do him like this? It was just so heartbreaking. And now I did watch it after it premiered because I was just trying to catch up, so I see what people were talking about when they're like, that ending had me sobbing. I'm like, what happened? Like, I want to know what happens, and I could see where people were coming from on that one.
Yeah, I mean, what a truly tragic character Victor was. Had the opportunity to leave with the love of his life and start a new life, but chose to stay in Gotham, and it ended up getting him killed, unfortunately. And that relationship between him and Oz was so interesting, and you really don't get a full grasp of it until that ending scene where you realize this relationship, even as affectionate as Cobb said he was, and relating to him, and maybe there was a part of Oz that definitely did, sort of find kinship with him, and their the disabilities that they had, and him being, a kid, that's really just like on the like a bottom feeder, basically, thrown cast away from society, and after the events of the Batman, really put into the ground and trying to get out of it. So I'm sure there was a part of him that definitely empathized with that and saw himself in them. But once we get to that ending scene and what he's willing to do, it's like, yeah, like Oz doesn't really view relationships as they should be viewed. He sees people as things that he can use in the process of elevating his own interests. So yeah, that scene really hit hard because throughout the series, you're hoping that this mentor mentee relationship is actually the real deal. But once we get to that moment, no, it was just another person for Oz to use to step on his ascent to what he wants to be when that's the mob king of Gotham, basically.
I mean, well, we look at the relationship with him and his mom, who again beautifully played by Deidre O'Connell, and just they're both just the best liars to each other. Like, he never said what happened to his brothers, even though he was the one who left them to die, and she basically wanted the mob to kill him because she's like, he killed my sons. Like, I don't want this kid anymore. I don't love this kid. But in the end, they stuck by each other for whatever weird reason, some sick, demented version of family or loyalty. But again, that's Sophia was right. Like, you guys are both sick. Like, who's the worst one? The one lying about doing something, or the one lying just for the sake of it, kind of thing. And I think that's just the beauty of the writing with this, is that every character, there is no innocent character in this whatsoever. Sophia, technically yes, because she didn't deserve to go to Arkham whatsoever, but it's like, you're the daughter of a prominent crime boss. There's the stuff going on. You had to know what was going on. And then the stuff she did in Arkham and then outside of Arkham is like, yeah, you can make that argument that you drive someone to do that, they'll do it, but it's like, she didn't have to do some of this stuff. So
Just ended up walking down that same path of destruction.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, every character's so morally corrupt, morally gray, but they do stuff here and there that makes you really empathize with them and make you even like them. Like Oz, I loved half this season, and Sophia again, great character, but then when some of the stuff went down and some of the things they've done, I'm like, there we go. That you had to ruin it for me. You're just awful. And even Victor, like he was a good-hearted kid, but obviously following the wrong people, Oz, and had to do some stuff that isn't right. So it's just, just great writing all around. I give credit to Matt Reeves for creating this universe, but Lauren LeFranc, man, she killed all my doubts about this show wanting to be like. This is one of those shows. Also, I was like, do we really have to do this? Like, what can you make the Penguin better? And she called the bluff. She did make it better.
Yeah, I mean, what she was able to do here in expanding, that criminal element of Gotham really sort of drives home the point that was kind of established in the Batman, where, yeah, the city is infected. There's something rotten to the core in this place, and there's something about it that drives people to sort of, go try to get theirs basically at the expense of the people around them. And yeah, no more so apparent than it was here in the Penguin with Oz and what he did, and again what Sophia and what she ended up doing, even though she came at it with different intentions. And then yeah, with what Victor did, an innocent kid who felt like he wanted to rise in the ranks, and again started doing bad things to get those ranks. So yeah, it's just yeah. I thought, like you mentioned, it's just really really incredible character writing for all three of those characters.
Yeah, I feel like this universe so far, until we get Batman with James Gunn, this definitely feels the most like Batman, like with Gotham, just the setting. It's another one of those shows that the setting is its own character. Where Gotham, it's very broken, it's very grimy, and just like the characters, they're broken. They're trying to work their ways up, so like just to make their lives better. So I just appreciated that work, like just the setting, like all the set designs that they go to, whether it be the small apartment, a penthouse, or just walking down the street. It all felt like it's in its own place and time. Um, Honestly, like I said, I can't praise it enough for what it did for this. Just again, Colin Farrell, man, he killed it. But before we forget, Bern, I don't know if I know you've forgotten the last couple times, so I want to ask you, what did you think about the score and the sound design and all that stuff for this show?
I mean, I thought the score was pretty good. Like, taking those motifs that Michael Giacchino established in the Batman, and started expanding on him. I think he did music for most of the series. He's the only one listed here, so I guess he was the sole composer for it. But yeah, continuing along that line of the music that I really loved in the Batman. Taking it and bringing it in over here and establishing it for this criminal element of criminal side of Gotham. I thought it was really good. A bunch of fun tunes, a bunch of ominous tunes. Really ran the gamut of emotions, and I thought they did a really good job with that one there. But yeah, and I'd also want to shout out the costume designer for this show. Helen Huang was just, man, all the suits that Oswald was really cool, especially the one we get to see at the end. And my goodness, she definitely made a not that Kristen Milioti needs anything to look good, but man, all the outfits that Sophia Falcone had in this season was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, again, like that perfect line of just beauty, elegance, and then also like
Danger.
yeah, danger. Like there's a sense of like ferocity with her, like whether she's calm and collected or something, or just she's got really pretty eyes, like big eyes, where it's like, man, she definitely looks like she could be insane, for this character. And yeah, no, like I was telling you, man, not only does she look great, but goddamn, she was like just classy. That's the perfect thing I would put for her costumes.
She'll either kill you with her looks or with something else in the room.
Exactly. But yeah, Oz's suit at the end, like we didn't get to see him don the classic top hat, but he did have it with him. And man, I was like, that's the Penguin. Even times when he had the coat with the, not the fur, I forgot what you would call that, like fuzzy kind of collar. But there were a couple episodes or a couple scenes he had a coat like that. I was like, ah, shit, we're almost there, almost to the Penguin arc. But I just want to give a shout out to the side characters. Like I said, Carmen Jogo, Clancy Brown, as always, is just
Oh yeah.
such a force on screen. Whether he's doing voice acting or in it himself, he was great as a Salvatore Maroni. And just the side characters, like the mob in Gotham, like it really, because I feel like with Batman shows and movies the last few years, all I really know about are the Maronis and the Falcones, and then maybe a couple other gangs like Two Face, Penguin, whatever. But we got to definitely see more gangs in this show, just a different world of Gotham that we haven't seen Batman necessarily tackle on the big screen too much. So it was just really cool. That just added fuel to the mafia genre for this show.
And I know you already gave Deirdre O'Connell her praise, but I just want to continue to second that because throughout the series, she was absolutely incredible. And then in the last two episodes, they really gave her moments to shine and really act. And we got to see her at her full range of capabilities. And yeah, she was incredible throughout. And that relationship is so messed up.
Yeah, that's again, that's what you said, man. It's definitely a good tragedy. Like, it's just so sad, like what happened. With all that being said, I definitely would not mind if they did. I mean, I know we had the Joker movies, but I actually wouldn't mind the Killing Joke in like a mini series, like that kind of drawn out. I think that would be a little bit of an interesting thing to do. Especially since they have Barry Keoghan, they could show how he got to that point in that deleted, like extended scene that never was attached to the movie, or even Two Face. I think Two Face would be a good like court drama kind of thing, but also very crime because there are some iterations of Harvey Dent that he's definitely not so clean. So I think that'd be really cool. Or just if we get more Penguin, I'm all for it. I think Matt Reeves's DC is definitely a solid Elseworld to keep exploring.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. After this series, I'm game for more. If it's other Rogues Gallery characters that they kind of want to expand and give their own moment to shine, I'm down. Or if it's more of the Penguin, I'm also down. As long as it keeps this level of quality, I'm up for anything because yeah, this was this was just really fantastic.
Yeah, and like you said, how it didn't, how like from on screen to translating to this show, it is good that this is a Max series because HBO, despite all the situations they've been in the last few years and some of the shady stuff they've done, the quality is still there for the most part, especially with House of the Dragon season 2 this year. So I'm glad that they definitely did not mince on the quality in this show, or at least I couldn't tell. It all looked great to me, but Before we wrap up, is there anything else, Bern, that you wanted to highlight, or did we cover all the bases?
Ah, man, I think so. Nothing else comes to mind. Just, yeah, what an incredible journey this has been, the last 8 weeks. I love this world that, again, that Matt Reeves created, and that, all the people involved here just extended. And yeah, I just want to see more from it. Hopefully the Batman 2 is not too far around the corner, because yeah, just this version of Gotham is really quickly becoming my favorite.
Yeah, they definitely need to do that soon. I can't believe it's already been shit 3 years since the last. No, 2 years. 2 years since the last one came out. But man, time flies. But for those of you stuck around with the spoilers, please let us know what you liked about it without spoiling it for the public. Given they could just watch and listen to us, but you know what I mean. But we got some more movies coming out later this year. We got Gladiator 2. We got Nosferatu. We got Secret Level on Amazon. Doom Prophecy. A bunch more good stuff for all of us to nerd out about. So until next time, everyone, just stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.